desires, like relating to the latent demand type of things, right? So be with your group creativity, you can find good market gap to introduce new product. So everybody need to undertake at least secondary data or primary data collection to justify your new product idea. That is important, right? So time to time I express what you want to do, the directions for your final assignment. By the way, today we have 4 presentations. Another week we will get the another 4 presentation. Otherwise we can't complete our theoretical part, right? So that's why we want to divide 4 groups to present today and the other 4 groups for next time, right? Before start the presentation, I think we may better to go with the final section of the marketing planning or the strategic planning. What do you feel? What's your idea about, do you want to present first, or maybe you want to do lecture first until your members join in? Or if you are ready, it's up to you.
We will do the presentation, madam.
Presentation first. Oh, okay. Right. Anyway, later we will engage in that, right? Okay. So what's your group? Right. Group number 9. Who are there? Group
yes,
number.
Madam. Yes, madam. We are the group number 9.
Yes. What's your title?
Social criticism of marketing.
Yeah. Can you speak a little bit loud?
Yeah, social criticism of marketing, madam.
That's better. That could be the starting point, right? Yeah, Malit is the group leader. Vivekan.
Yeah. Yes, madam. I'm Vivekanandra, sir.
Yeah, right. So I want to give you to share.
One of my another group member will share the slide, madam.
Okay, I want to give the chance to share your group for all participants, right? Now you can share, right? Social criticisms of marketing, right? Then at least you may better to discuss the key things within 10 to 12 minutes, right? Oh, all are here today?
Yes, madam.
All members, anybody absent? Yes or no?
So, sorry, madam, one group member is absent, but because she's having kind of a funeral, her father, that's why all others are present.
Yes,
yeah, right. So then who is she or him?
Ruvini.
Ruvini. Okay. She didn't mention any, not send me email or whatever the thing.
I'll ask madam because her father has passed away. That's why.
Sorry. It's okay. Right. Okay.
Shall we start, madam?
Yes, you can start.
Okay. Very good morning, dear madam and dear colleagues. As group 9, today we are going to present about social criticisms of marketing.
Sorry, 1 minute.
So these are our group names.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
Yeah.
So group number 1, are you here? Group number 1?
Yes, madam.
Right, Gunavardhana, Aruni's group, right? Group number 1. So you want to evaluate this one, this group presentation. You are the evaluating part, right? Okay, now you can continue. Sorry. Okay.
So, okay, madam. So, social criticisms of marketing is our group topic, and these are our group members. And I'm Yashoda here, and we'll move to our topic. So, anything in this world is subjected to criticize by anyone in this world. So, it is same for the marketing as well. So, the marketing receives many criticisms. Some are justifiable and some are not. So, this social criticism
Recording in progress.
these marketing practices by the marketers hurt individual consumers, society, and maybe the other business firms. So consumers may have some concerns how well the marketing system serves to their interests. So throughout this presentation, we are going to discuss 6 main aspects of this criticism. So to discuss first one, I would like to invite Shashika. Over to you, Shashika.
Thank you, Yashoda. One of the main social criticism is the high price. High price is the seller at the abnormal margin on their product, and many critics charge the marketing system cause price to be higher than the need be. This high price will affect the price level of economy. In Sri Lanka, this price level is very high, and that mainly affect the inflation in the economy. So there is a criticism regarding high price. There are 3 main reasons can be identified for high price of the product. First one is high cost of the distribution. Second one is high advertising and promotion cost, and third one is excessive markup. Next slide, please. High cost of the distribution. There are so many reasons for distribution cost of the product. They are customer convenience, large storage, more intermediates, and more competitors in the market. Greedy intermediates mark up price beyond the value of their service. So there are too many intermediates and they duplicate the service. In Sri Lanka, price of the rice is very high due to the above mentioned reason. High advertising and promotion cost. Marketing is accused of driving up promotion and advertising costs for their product. Consumer want more than the merely functional qualities of products, psychological benefit, branding, even though it may cost more. In practically, consumer ready to pay more for iPhones in mobile phone industry. Excessive markups. The seller is create the markup for their product, and marketers response that most businesses try to price fairly, but consumer often don't understand the reason for high markup. For example, pharmaceutical markup help cover the cost of making the distribution existing medicine, plus the high cost of developing and testing new medicine. As pharmaceutical company GlaxoSmithKline has started its ad, today medicine finance tomorrow's medical. Yashoda, sorry, Kasturi.
Thank you, Shashika. The next social criticism in marketing is deceptive practices. These are the practices adopted by marketers, cheating consumers to believe that they get more value than the actual one by the consumption of the products. The use of false or misleading information to capture the attention of the consumer through usage of false information to persuade buyers into a business transactions. These practices can be explained through 3 important scenarios: deceptive promotion, deceptive packaging, deceptive pricing. So let's see one by one. So deceptive promotion. It is the practice of promoting the products that are misrepresenting the product's features or performance with the effect of deceiving customers. So here you can see the example, the product Nutella. The TV advertisements were made for popular Nutella chocolates. It was made to believe Nutella is healthy and part of balanced meal by the consumers. It was told Nutella is possessing quality ingredients like hazelnuts, skim milk, and hint of cocoa. But actually, it is made from sugar and palm oil. So this is one of the examples for deceptive promotion. Next slide, please. Deceptive packaging. So this is the practice of over-exaggerating the packaging contents through different ways. The first one, reducing the number of pieces or quantity. So that means the packaging is done in low quantity. So example, you can see in this picture, vitamin D3. So here the packaging is large compared to the quantity of the products. And second one, shrink the pieces in small size, reducing the size of the quantity of the products. So here you can see the example, olive, extra virgin olive oil. Here the packaging is done, which is not fully filled in the bottle. Then use fill to show large quantity. So example here you can see the Campbell's tomato soup. In the first bottle, it is mentioned 30% bigger, and in the second bottle, it is also mentioned 40% bigger. But actually, you can see both the bottles, both the tins are of same size. Then inferior the quality of product. The quality of product may be low. And the fifth one, leaving extra empty space inside the box. So here, another example, you can see the L'Oreal cream. So here the packaging is very large compared to the actual cream product. So here the extra empty space you can see. So these are some of the examples you can see for the deceptive packaging. Next slide, please. Deceptive pricing. So this is the practice of cheating consumers by charging higher prices. So let's see two examples. The first example, Overstock sold a Passion set for $449, stating that its actual price is $999. But after the delivery of this Passion set, the customer noticed it was $247.4 with a Walmart sticker. So here the consumer has been deceived by charging higher prices. And second situation, the Amazon made an offer for sale of LED light bulbs for $14.99, which worth $100. So customers, they are provided misleading information that they will receive $85 savings. But actually a consumer noticed and informed it was not charged more than $14.99 for the last 3 months. So this is another example where the customers are deceived for pricing. Next, Yashoda, over to you.
Thank you, Kasturi. So the third criticism. So for as a background for this, what you can see, think about this picture. So this is about Peta Market. So you know how these sellers are selling their product. Even we do not have any intention to buy, they induce us to buy. So I put it as a background for this third criticism, which is high pressure selling or the hard selling. So the hard selling is a kind of unethical and unsophisticated method. So a salesperson can apply this persistent pressure or the continuous pressure on consumer, employing inducement and kind of a psychological pressure to get a quick sale. So we can identify, for example, especially the insurance agents and the real estate sellers, and also in Sri Lanka, the credit card sellers. So we can see how much of psychological pressure that they are putting on us to buy their product. So on the other hand, there's one example, TV information pitchment. That means they are using this yell and sell presentation to generate kind of a sale for their product. So unless the person who are having incredible willpower can avoid those advertisements, especially. So if you can listen to the morning radio show, so how they are using these advertisements while presenting their shows. So we'll move to the next slide. So in there, we can see these approaches are not maybe effective in one time. So those are not long-term effective. Those are short-term benefited approaches. Why the customer loyalty can be significantly harmed by these high pressure or these hard selling, the misleading selling. So I put this picture as an example, very famous example in Sri Lanka. So this is a SIM card seller. So when you are going through the street or the road, you may face to many of these SIM card sellers, and you can feel how much of high pressure that they are inducing on us to buy their SIM cards. So that is about third one. To move to fourth one, I'd like to invite Vivek. Vivek, over to you.
Thank you, Yashoda. So another criticism that comes from the society about marketing is shoddy and unsafe products. So the people who are producing the products, they are making the people and they are cheating the people through this shoddy and unsafe products. People are more interested to buy the products because the products are sometimes may sell in the low price. So this is very crucial and important criticism in the society that we can see. Even in Sri Lanka also, we can see practically with more economic crisis that we are feeling now, that we are experiencing. The another important criticism is that unsafe food products. So that is also another criticism that we are experiencing at the moment. So this poor product and maybe the unsafe product will make more harms on the people, and the people definitely will get more disadvantages due to this criticism. So this is the fourth criticism of this social criticism of marketing. Thank you. It's over to you, Samani.
Yes.
Samini, it's over to you.
Thank you, Vijay.
Yes, continue.
Samini.
If we face problem, anybody else can continue.
Sorry, hello.
Yes, we can hear.
Excuse me, there was a power cut.
Yes.
Ma'am, there was a power cut. Just now I log in.
Anyway, you can continue.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, ma'am. Is planned obsolescence and method of planned obsolescence and why it is important in corporate world. Planned obsolescence is a strategy of deliberately ensuring that the current version of given product will become out of date or useless within a known time period. It means fashion and design may become irrelevant and not useful after a specific time period. Also will not remain valuable and fruitful for the end consumers. Basically, planned obsolescence is applied in business practices through various business techniques, such as artificial durability, necessary software update, perceived obsolescence, and repair preventions. Today, most of businesses using this planned obsolescence. The reason of that, the business existence to generate revenue and keep enhancing the flow of upcoming purchases from repeat buyers. Therefore, planned obsolescence provide opportunity for business to increase their repeat sales and gain the revenue. Now let's see some planned obsolescence example in real life with some of famous brand. Here I take a Nike, Apple, and Google, and we'll explain about Nike and Apple. When it comes to Nike, the Nike planned obsolescence in a way that it keeps introducing new material and colors in its product and set up new trends for the users. In this way, users feel begin left out and have an urge to purchase the most trending product. But in reality, the product remains the same. Only the aesthetic and designs are changed after doing the product marketing, and it's creating sales opportunities to the business. When it comes to the Apple is the one of the
most best example for the planned obsolescence in the tech industry. Company like Apple make it very hard for the consumers to get the Apple products are not easily repaired or replaced easily. Therefore, Apple tries to force its users to replace the old and faulty products with new and fully functional ones. More in the different cell phone models like Apple iPhone 6, 7, 8, or even 13. But users don't set largely different product altogether from previous one. Only design and aesthetic only Shiva. Thank you.
Thank you, Chamini. The last is the disadvantages consumers, which arise due to the discrimination between the society based on their economic status and lifestyle. Here, the markets are discriminating the rich people and the poor people based on their economic status, and according to that they are offering the products to the market. Mostly the marketers target more to sell from for malls and supermarkets, but it is difficult for the poor people to purchase the goods at all the time in the malls. So they will miss more promotion of and discounts. In sometimes they miss to get high quality products also. Critics claims that the urban poor often have to shop in smaller stores that carry inferior goods and charge higher prices. Mostly the marketers do that for the inferior goods. They will increase the price for that, and they charge high price among the people who are the poor people who are in the urban area. That's it. We next we will move on the conclusion.
Okay.
Sorry, I think something happened. 1 second. I'm sorry.
Yes, you can continue. Last one.
Yeah, miss, the slide is moving. Sorry.
Anyway, you can talk.
Yeah.
You can present without slides.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
that's
okay. The conclusions. Today we show that social criticism of marketing. In this world, nothing is there without criticism. So in marketing, and the criticism is an expression of disapproval or a judgment of fault about the market and its practices. Today we see more major 6 criticisms among the market. Among that, the high price, deceptive practices, and the high pressures are commonly we know about that things, because the high price is high because of the advertisements and the promotion and all the things. The deceptive practices also due to the false packaging. Likewise, the higher price every day we are practicing. When we go for the shop, the shop person definitely focus us to try to purchase that product. So we in daily routine life we are practicing these things, and the actual thing is that commonly the marketers are criticized for what? They are criticizing for creating false and materialism. That means mostly when all the ways the marketers are trying to sell the products in some other fault way. That's why they are criticized on that. And the second thing is that scarcity of social goods. In the recent world, the scarcity is increasing. That's why mostly the marketers are criticizing. And also the high competition. Nowadays, the competition level is very high. That's why in all cases, all the marketers are criticized regarding their marketing practices. And the final thing is that if there is any criticism, then we have to do what? We have to take some corrective actions. For that, we have to do proper market analysis and have to target our customers, what they are really expecting, how we can give the products in a proper way to them to achieve their, to be the customers with us for a long time. Thank you. This is our presentation. If there is any question, you may ask it.
Okay, before I ask the questions, can you show your reference list? Next slide. How many references include here? Only one? Huh? One.
Actually, we put that the Kotler's book as a reference here, but we go through with some of the articles also and the website also. We got more things. But
You have to include other than telling that in front of us, right? It's needs to put under the references. It is very important, right? Because you are in the master level, right? Then the group number 1, right now is your time to give some extended things or the comments about the presentation. I am not asking you to tell that they are presenting very well, then vocabulary and all these things. Think about the content of the presentation. Any person from group number 1?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
So I would like to comment on the presentation. One thing that I would like to point out is that the presentation is enriched with examples, real life examples, and through those things only they try to explain the concepts through that example. So it was really informative in that aspect. And one more thing, a question that I got was while going through, is it really a fault of marketing, right? Because if you take an organization, so there's a social criticisms of marketing. What we say is marketing, but if you take high pricing, deceptive practices, and planned obsolescence, even the operations, planning, R&D, all are like responsible or liable for these things. But what we say is basically marketing. So that is something that I got. I don't know how to put it, but when it comes to their presentation, it was really informative and enriched with examples as well. So thank you.
I also, what's your name?
Aruni.
Aruni. Right, Aruni. I also agree with that. It's a very powerful examples and very important examples that group highlights. But my comments, but I don't like to give my comments because another presentation groups same title from weekday class. Sometimes I give some comments, then they will add those things when they were presented last time. That's the basic things I face under my comments, right? Anyhow, so your presentation content totally connected with the how marketing impacts on the individual consumers, right? That is, in addition to that, there are 2 other things you have to concern, because normally criticisms means how marketing practices hurts to the people, especially the consumers in the particular market. Then other than that, there may be very important to think about how marketing impact on the other business organization, not only the consumers, but also how they treat, how they work with their competitors, what type of applications, so the strategies they apply. So whether these applications or their strategies are maybe that is ethical. So everything you want to consider under the social criticisms, because it's not asking social criticisms. It should have covered not only the consumer side, but also society as whole as well. Because under the that area, you want to think about the citizens and public actions relating to the social criticism, especially how marketing impacts on society. So maybe many companies introduce, one example I may tell you, many false warns sometimes, too much of materialistic things they introduce. So through that they waste more resources. Everything you want to combine in your presentation. In addition to that, not only the criticisms you are highlighting. So as a master level people, you want to think about how can overcome those things, how to avoid these criticisms, what type of suggestions you can put here. So that suggestions I expect from your group, because it is connected with the next presentation group. Especially you want to think about the environmentalism, maybe the consumerism, or maybe social responsibility initiatives. Those things company today try to apply to overcome those social criticisms, especially relating to social society level, maybe the other company and the competitive position level, as well as the customer or the individual consumer level, right? So that is important. That is the lacking part of your presentation. Please pay your attention, because everything include in the Kotler's references that you have put on your presentation references anyhow, but you forget to add those things, right? But when you are presenting about the how marketing practices to the individual consumers, it is very nicely, very good and quality presentation we have here from your group. Anyway, right? That is the missing part of your presentation. Anyway, you can now remove your slide here. So then
recording
I can,
stopped.
Thank you, madam.
You can. Sorry, I think you can see it here, right? Social criticisms, especially you want to think, express the impact of individual consumer and society as a whole and the other business firms. So we want to protect other business people when one company doing unethical business practices. So that is also very important to think. Even the other business firms should also need to consider, or you don't have use some extended or some unethical practices, right? So you can see here, look at part. So I want to show you. So here, so some companies do acquisition. Sometimes practice create barrier to entry. Some companies or in the industry, they or think, and they themselves try to ban other people to come to that particular industry. So you can see some practices in Sri Lanka today, maybe the gas and some example companies you can look at here. So what has happened, it will directly impact to the end user market as well, right? So some unfair competitive marketing practices you want to consider relating to these three aspects include in your presentation. In addition to that one, so criticisms to the society. So you want to think about the too few social goods they introduce. I think during the conclusion, some important things your group one of your group members highlight. So anyhow, company many social many public goods or the private goods introduced by the different private organizations, but to carry out these businesses, government and the responsible authorities need to provide so many social goods, right? So it is important. Even the cultural pollutions and the too much of political power, these things you want to add relating to your one. So you can look at these things in this particular handout. I will send this handout for everybody to refer, right? This is the summary of the important three aspects relating to the presentation title of social criticisms of marketing, right? Maybe the group members agree with me, and then we can make that presentations to add some more things. Anyhow, no issue for the marks, because you are providing more examples and very important and popular examples during your presentation, right? Okay. Then the group number 10. So what's your title?
Ma'am, our title is Mindful Consumption.
Mindful consumption. Right. Are you ready? Or?
Yes, ma'am, we are ready.
Yes. Right. Maybe the group number 11. What is
Madam, I'm Shanika from group number 11.
Yes.
We got sustainability and spirituality of marketing.
Okay. Then we are the group number 12. Group number 12, Bandara, Nilmini. What's your title?
Ma'am, it's Cradle to Grave and Cradle to Cradle.
Anyway, right. So then the group number 10, we can start. Mindful consumption, that's better. You can share your hand.
Madam, we will start.
Yes. Who are your group members? Are all present today?
Yes, madam.
Shamali? Shamali?
Yes, madam.
Arunaratna, Nishani, I hope everybody, okay, no, don't waste time for that one. Right, okay. You all are responsible students because mindful consumption we are talking about.
Color,
Right.
brand, design, price, quality, quantity, blah, 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 blah. But how many of us ask ourselves, is this purchase going to make a positive impact on the world? You might be thinking, how my shopping and world are even related.
Mindful consumption. It is the next consumer trend you should know. Very good morning, all of you. We are
recording in progress.
Have you started mindful consumption? If not, this is the guide. It doesn't involve guilty, shame, or any dogma, but encourage consumer to examine their choices and consequences of their choices. What does it mean? Shane et al. In 2011 from their journal, Mindful Consumption, they describe like this. It is temperance in acquisitive, repetitive, and aspirational consumption at the behavior level, ensuring from and reinforced by a mindset that reflects a sense of caring towards self, community, and nature. Simply, it means be mindful before you do consumption. But you have to consider two things, mindful mindset as well as the mindful behavior. Sajini, can you please give us few examples how we can start up mindful consumption?
Every day, we will come to know our own nature very well. We have to eat, drink, consume, but if we do it unmindfully, we may destroy our bodies. Many of us are not mindful about the daily actions that are unsustainable, such as throwing all trash into one bin, taking a long shower, and throwing out finished food that aggregates on landfills. Mindfulness, on the other hand, promotes environmental sustainability. It helps individuals disengage from automatic thoughts and become more open to behavior change and freedom to make different choices. Examples of mindful consumption include activities like using purchasing power to support companies with more sustainable practices, preparing rather than purchasing, bringing reusable bags to the grocery store, preventing food waste, and reducing private space and increasing public space. Illivari, over to you.
From the mindset, we are focusing three parts. Just nature, caring for self, caring for well-being community. Caring for self, not being selfish. Caring for community is essential collective well-being. Caring for nature include aesthetic and instrument play. Over to you, Ms. Ansala.
Hi, Ms. Ansala, are you there?
You can continue.
Hi all. In mindful behavior, we have to consider three parts. First thing is that the repetitiveness. So we have to do any doing repetitively, first we have to think that whether it exactly needed. And before we acquire anything, we have to think that whether it is necessary to acquire and aspirational, the things that we are taking. And so these are the things that we have to cover mindful behavior. Sri?
Let's say about this shift in consumer behavior and mindset. Researchers found number of consumers are turning to frugality and majority of them are unlikely to turn back to overconsumption. So new frugality and loss of interest in status-driven purchase are a fundamental shift in a consumer behavior that is reshaping consumption pattern in a lasting way. Most of the celebrities proved simplicity is power. For example, Mark Zuckerberg in choosing outfit so simple gray t-shirt. The another noticeable shift is increased readiness to shop online at stores that offer home delivery. For example, shops which has Pick.me and Uber services in Sri Lanka. The third shift is to focus on function. It is really about purchase behavior is being driven by availability of product and service within a category. That type of benefit versus brand performance. Mobile phones and cosmetic product purchasing can be an example for this shift. Growth of interest in brands that combine functional performance with pro-social behavior. When people boycott Nike for their street shop is one of the examples for this shift. So in this emerging new mindset of consumers are redefining their idea of a good life in which they can exercise greater happiness and meaning in life. Next, Hansani, over to you.
Okay, let's see relationship between consumption level and business profitability. Most of the marketing findings identify close scrutiny relationship between consumption level and marketing profitability. Its mean profits would decline as a consumption increase beyond an optimal level. Then identify hidden costs to the company. Following are the profitability based on core trends that are lead to increase the marginal cost and that affect for overconsumption also. First one is environmental costs that arise from actual or potential decline of natural assets due to the economic activities. Second one is social costs. It includes the human toll of exploitative work condition, the health consequence of pollution and work, stress and socio-economic inequalities. There are growing public and political pressures, then internalized social costs in the business. And third one is trend is marketing costs. From this trend, explain our marketing based on the overconsumption because consumer wants are escalated. Therefore, our marketing is inefficient because of it involves carrying too much inventory and increasing wasteful advertising like that. Then profitability of the business is reduced. And last one is debt or default cost. This is a widespread problem related to the consumer debt because consumers expect more than selling to them more by the business. It is lead to loss rather than the profit in the future. So therefore, from these trends can identify mindful consumption is most important for reduce the overconsumption and over-marketing from fulfill the optimal consumption needs using the optimal marketing, then result in increase in profitability. So over to you, Taranga.
The precautionary principle of the mindful consumption. The principle applies to human health and the environment. The ethical assumption behind the precautionary principle is that humans are responsible to protect, preserve and restore the global ecosystems on which all life, including our own, depends. The precautionary principle is most powerful when it serves as a guide to making wise decisions in the face of uncertainty. The precautionary principle states that in cases of serious or irreversible threats to the health of humans or ecosystems, acknowledge scientific uncertainty should not be used as a reason to postpone preventive measures. Then the precautionary principle is important and challenging as it involves fundamental dimensions of human life, such as the right of health and to a clean environment and aspirations for better standards of living. Sampavi?
The world has enough for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed. With the thought, let's move to facilitating mindful consumption. First, believe that you deserve better. If you believe you deserve better, you are less likely to purchase the cheaper alternatives. You will pay a high price for the better option and will appreciate it more. The more you appreciate an item, the better you care. Next, aim to be healthier. When you aim to be healthier, you reduce junk food and choose healthier, which usually cost more and take much time and effort. So you won't waste it. I think we all know about Sarah Wilson, who wrote I Quit Sugar, has now got a fabulous new cookbook about using food in a more sustainable manner with minimal waste. Next, get more organized. Organized people do not have excess in their lives. Being organized means knowing what you actually need before you go shopping, no buying on impulse and ending up with excess or unnecessary items. Fourth, love the kids enough to say no. We need to realize that by buying kids less stuff, we can teach them appreciation, patience, and sustainability. Giving them less will help them become better consumers in the future. Finally, be grateful for what you have. Before you purchase new things, decide if you will actually use it. And once you bought it, make sure you do actually. Next, over to you, Dimtu.
මාව අඳුරනවද? ඔය කවුද? මම හෘද සාක්ෂිය. මේ මගේ හෘද සාක්ෂිය? මම නම් ඔහෙව හොඳට අඳුරනවා.
Recording stopped.
සාක්ෂිය දැන් කලින්ටත් වඩා අපි අඳුරනවා. ඒ අපි අලුත් හැඩයකින්, අලුත් පැහැයකින්, අලුත් ශක්තියකින්, අලුත් තුන නිසා. Union Assurance විශ්වාසනීයයට දවසක්.
ඔයාලගේ වත්තේ හිතුවටත් වඩා ලොකුයිනේ.
මොන? අක්කටයි අයියටයි මටයි මල්ලිටයි වෙන්නුනාම පොඩ්ඩයි. මේ හරියෙන් තමයි මට ලැබෙන්නේ.
ෂෝක්නේ.
මගේ හිතේ තියෙන මේ වගේ එකක්. මේ අපේ කාමරේ.
අපි තව කාමරයක් හදමු.
ඒ කාටද?
ඔයාගේ අම්මට.
පුතාලා තේ බොන්න.
පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්න. කවදා හරි ගේ හදනකොට ඕන වෙයි.
Tokyo Super.
Yes, Miss Ansela.
Yeah, mindful marketing. Mindful marketing is intentional instead of habitual, includes all stakeholders affected and not just shareholders. Enhance disagreement and different perspective, solve cause of problems and not just symptoms, use individual and collective emotional intelligence and not just rational mind. Over to you, Dimuthu.
Yes, Ms. Ansela. Mindful marketing is the ongoing practice of making marketing decisions with awareness that arise from paying attention to internal and external data points with acceptance, non-judgment, compassion, and flexibility of mind. Mindful marketing transports mindful consumption to a business and societal opportunity by generating win-win solutions that consider triple bottom lines of planet, people, and profit. Mindful marketing is consumer-centered approach, and mindful marketing humanize your business, make a lasting impact on customers, which can build loyalty. Examples are Apple, Amazon, Coca-Cola. How to apply mindfulness in marketing? Set goals, but see success as a process. Be aware of your presence, then be objective instead of opinionated. Be intentional, not habitual. Promote your product using empathy. Stop ignoring your competitor. Mindful marketing carries an important mission to cultivate mindful consumption through effective, efficient, and ethical ways while instantaneously considering the interest of both buyers and sellers. Over to you, Anusha.
Thank you, Dimuthu. Advancing mindful consumption is used to process of changes to marketplace and it dealing with attitude behavior discrepancy. The application of this process is shown in the case of 4 different consumer proclivities based on the consumption behavioral propensity. Excessive was temperate consumption, attitude or mindset, caring versus non-caring. These proclivity differences can be determined through instrument model along line of low-Haas-Oval surveys. Next slide. In here, 4 different consumer proclivities have suggested and marketers can select appropriate approach. Next slide. First one, caring mindset, temperate consumption. Consumer possess a caring mindset and practice temperance and provide reinforcement via intrinsic and extrinsic reward in marketing. For example, incentive for energy conservation. Second, caring mindset, excessive consumption. Consumers have caring mindset but unwilling to temper their consumption and need to incentive or disincentive. Disincentive can take form of demarketing, discouraged through various marketing communications. Third one, non-caring mindset, temperate consumption. Consumers' education used by the marketers and consumer export to proper information. Example for instill in customer sense of caring for self, for the community and for the environment. Last one, non-caring mind, excessive consumption. Consumers neither pay attention nor the consumption. Cost-based approach need for behavioral change. Demarketing and contractual agreement can use in here. As example, using credit card and borrowings. Next. This is our references and this is our group members, and thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, group number 2. I give first chance to group number 2. Group number 2, did you go through the mindful consumption handout that I sent to you, a consumer-centric approach to sustainability? Have
Yes,
you
madam.
gone? Yes, right. Just you can
Okay.
provide some
very good
extended
morning.
things or maybe comments, right? Okay. Who are there?
So on behalf of group 2, I'm going to give a few comments for the group. So madam, I think they have done a very good job because they have started off with the very basic ideas, and we totally understood what mindful consumption is all about. And they have also shared a lot of commitment to the presentation by adding a lot of video contents. And we saw that they have also highlighted both local as well as international examples as to how companies are practicing mindfulness within their marketing practices. I would like to ask, referring to the Sri Lankan context, do you think that Sri Lankan consumers are willing to adopt such practices? Are they in a mental state to practice?
Yes. Group 10. Ask from me or group?
From the group, madam.
Or maybe every audience, everybody in the class can tell your question again to the audience.
My question is that in the presentation, we saw that a lot of companies, both in Sri Lanka as well as international companies, are using mindful marketing practices. But my question is that even though as marketers and as business people, even though we try to practice in a way, do you think that the customers in the Sri Lankan context are willing to accept them? And are they willing to consume in a mindful manner?
Yes,
anybody?
Yeah, yes. I'm from group number 10. For the Sri Lankan context, like this is come up with a new trend, but both companies as well as some parties are there, environment friendly, overconsumption practices is prohibiting, so that practices is still startup, but like we have to promote more towards mindful consumption, and even for this consumer side we have to be powerful, and so that is the thing. So there is a gap, but still in Sri Lankan context there is some pop-up.
Yes, exactly.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
What do you think? Are you happy with the answer?
Yes, madam. Yes, indeed.
Oh, you are happy. Right? In the group number 10 presentation, right? So if you use that diagram or the diagram in the marketing resource development versus profitability aspects relating to underconsumption, mindful consumption, and overconsumption. That would be better, right? It is very important section, but you have already mentioned it in your presentation. But the students who are not fully engaged that particular area, then you can provide some extended things to get more understanding about the mindful consumption behavior, right? Some people mention it as a sustainable consumption behavior, even green consumption behavior, but it's mindful consumption. It's totally from the person's inner behavior. Inside of the thinking. So that's very important to do so many research to understand whether the Sri Lankan consumers are thinking about they are practicing mindful consumption behavior. Otherwise, it's very difficult to answer your question, right? The major thing is the Shet and other people's article. That is the article I have already given to you. Then in addition to that, you may better to think about the different examples nicely explained in advance mindful consumption by encouraging and reinforcement section that is nicely discussed. That is good one. Then I think all the other students are also need to go through these key areas and they can understand what's especially the starting point. You may better to start with the mindful marketing, right? So under the mindful marketing, if you connect it to the mindful consumption behavior and the mindful manufacturing and ethical manufacturing, those things are based on that one. Anyhow, all key areas you have covered, but that is especially we are talking under the consumer centric approach towards the sustainability practices. That is connecting to the sustainability practices. Normally, sustainability practices we are talking about, and we are connecting with the external factors like technology changes and those things. But in addition to that, and also to totally fulfill that inner consumer and the people behavior, especially the human behavior is very, very important. That's why we want to think about the mindfulness, right? So the mindfulness, people may have mindful means that's monohari karanwana. So how that's the satya sihiya. So that is the basic idea, right? So then maybe if we look at maybe the thief or maybe the horek gattot එහෙම එයා ඒ හොරකම හරියටම කරනවා නම් එයාත් mindful. But mindful consumption, here we want to think about different way, different angle. Then how people feel it, how people think it, right? So then getting those things, whether people care when they are eating, when they are using resources, whether they are thinking about their grandchild or maybe the future generation. So everything we want to consider under that mindful consumption. Especially it is very complex situation relating to the business sector. Then you want to think about how it's mixed with the consumption oriented marketing. So connecting those things, you can understand further and additional things relating to the mindful consumption section. Then next presentation also sometimes connecting with this presentation, this will support you to get some additional things. So I think this group, there may be Eshani, you are here? Ishani?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam, I'm here.
You can give some extended things. You are doing research related to mindful consumption, right?
Yes, exactly, madam. What you said was really correct. The next presentation topic is spirituality. So according to my findings, when the level of spirituality of a person is increasing, they're trying to consume mindfully. So that will actually eliminate consumption and the wasteful actions that as consumers as well as marketers we are doing. That is actually the link.
Okay, thank you, Esha, and sharing your findings with the audience, students, especially in the MBA group. So, any questions and every difficulties to get something, so then please let me know. You can put it on the chat box, right? Then we can engage in each section. Then I think you can get more understanding, as both of us mentioned. So then you can get more understanding from here in the next presentation. So I would like to invite the next presenting group, especially to your presentation slides. You may better to send it to me through my email box. Then I can check your references, especially what references you use and add in addition to the articles that I have uploaded in the LMS, right? Okay. Then this group, it's okay. Then the next group number 11, Naomi's group, spirituality and sustainability. That would be the title you can use, right? Okay, start.
Very good morning to all of you. We are Group 11 and today we are presenting our sustainability and spirituality, or else we are going to go green. We gathered information to this presentation by reviewing research articles. Purpose of a research article. There is a primary as well as a secondary objective. Primary objective is to mainly develop a framework that enables marketers to address customer-centric challenges in sustainability. Secondary objective is to make a business forecast for mindful consumption and how marketing function can help to implement customer-centric approach to sustainability. Thank you. Over to Hasala.
Thank you, Shashika. Sustainability. It is much of a common word these days, right? The term sustainability itself says it is ability to remain in a business for a longer period of time. According to Jackson, sustainability connotes three dimensions: economic, environmental, and social dimensions. This means business results or performance should not only be viewed based on the economic performance, but we must consider environmental and social dimensions as well. So these three dimensions, which are known as the triple bottom line. In triple bottom line, environmental dimension discusses the impact on environmental well-being, which means health and human well-being is connected to environmental change due to its consumption. And in social dimension, it relates to impact on personal well-being of stakeholders, reflecting individual and family well-being, or quality of life, and of course, welfare of the community. For the last, economic dimension, it relates the impact on economic well-being of its stakeholders, with financial aspect, of course, such as debt burden, earning pressures, and work-life balance. To discuss more of this, I would like to invite my colleague, Ms. Sewandi.
Thank you, Hasana. I would like to explain about the customer-centered sustainability. Customer-centered sustainability is the matrix of the performance based on the sustainability outcome that are personally constitutional for the customers and the result from customer direct business activities. In here, mainly consumer relationship between consumption and the economic environment society of the customer-centric sustainability performance matrix. As a marketing is the principal, customer-focusing business functions marketing actions continues the most relevant business drivers of the customer-centered sustainability. As an example, the Starbucks was facilitated the efficiency without sacrificing the quality of the product and the services. The practice of the company, the properly managed waste disposal system, recycling process, company promote the green outlet and stores across the global. Company aim to achieve the 50% reduction in carbon emission in 2025. Let's move on to the next slide. Consumer environment changes and human well-being. The primary environment concern arises from rapid growth in the consumption. First one is the ecosystem resource constraint. In here, Earth cannot support unlimited growth in the consumption. Second one is the environment degradation risk. As a
Okay, now let's move on to the next slide.
Yes.
Okay, let's see consumption, personal and economic well-being. There are two major threats for economic well-being. Those are underconsumption and overconsumption. Underconsumption is a problem for a large segment of society which is at the bottom of the pyramid, which includes more than half of the world's population. That means the low-income segment of the society is mostly incorporated with consumption below the necessity. Unlike underconsumption, overconsumption seems to be the new trend in customer-centric sustainability. That is, the middle and the higher income markets, which represent consumers with a substantial disposable income, directly spending seems to consume more than required. This situation has created many crisis situations which should be controlled. Next slide. Moving on to the environmental sustainability and consumption, which is mainly the greening approach. Go green is the new trend nowadays. The main goal in green consumption is to maximize the adoption of green products that are lighter in their environmental footprint over the total life cycle. Green consumption is steadily gaining market attention, promoting the consumption of products that are less artificial and more natural. Green consumption and green marketing both seem steps in the right direction, and it fully deserves support from corporate leaders. However, when the green consumption practices come to be adopted more widely, there's a continuing rise in consumption that increase the harm to the environment, making the net sustainability gains in a negative value. So I'll hand over to Manisha.
If we look at the redirecting consumption in the next slide, next slide, please. Yeah, we have seen the behavior of green strategies and the consumption. Here we can say that the green strategies are not based on the environment in the environmental adverse impact of the consumption. So here overconsumption reduces the personal and economic well-being. We can say that to encourage the consumers to reduce the consumption. In here we can suggest that switching into the reusable products, donating and swapping and selling, and also satisfying by consuming less. So if we look at generic examples on sustainability in Sri Lankan context, on the next slide, we can see many examples that elaborates the sustainability. Here we have selected the Ceylon Biscuit Limited, which can elaborate the sustainability on people perspective and planet perspective. If we consider the people perspective, they have derived the sustainability based on good farming practices, which have a network over 13,000 farmers, and also they have initiated a scheme called Gobi Paula program to enhance stability of farming families, and also they mainly focuses on organic farming to minimize the wastages. If we focus on the planet perspective, which is in the next slide, they have mainly focused on energy usage. They mainly use solar panels and they have replaced the traditional heat sources. They focus on water wastages, reducing the water wastages by water conservation and recycling. And mainly they're focusing on the zero wastages. Now let us look at some other generic examples. Rochana, over to you.
Thank you, Manisha. Let's see some of the initiatives taken by Sri Lankan businesses in order to show their commitment towards sustainability. One of the leading supermarket chains in Sri Lanka, Keels, has made the commitment to reduce single-use plastic in their stores by 50% by end of 2025. Though it is an aggressive target, the company has already taken initiatives to replace plastic straws by paper straws. Then they have introduced biodegradable bags and reusable bags for their customers. Then NTB, Nation Trust Bank, is the first Sri Lankan bank to introduce paperless banking operation by switching into paperless boardroom concept. Next, the Milo by Nestle has introduced paper straws to its key products. And McDonald's, global restaurant chain, has introduced paper bags and lunch boxes in order to show its commitment towards environment sustainability. Then Coca-Cola, global beverage leader, has taken initiatives to reuse its PET bottle waste and produce cleaning brushes, yarns in textile industry. Also, Massol is a giant in textile industry in Sri Lanka has introduced garment from plastic waste. These are some of the examples from Sri Lankan context. Over to you, Naomi.
Thank you. Spirituality. Is it to be a holy person? Let's discuss. Spirituality in marketing is generated from consumer ethics. So what do you understand when you say ethical? Being a good human being? Yes, but more than being a good human being to yourself, you also be a good human being to the nature. Ethical consumer who consider the environment, human, animal welfare as important and therefore evaluate their consumption lifestyles. Think back and evaluate yourself whether you are an ethical consumer. If not, it's high time to be one to save our planet Earth. Ethical consumption is ethical action-based moral judgments applied to consumption. In simple terms, doesn't harm the environment in your consumption. So what is spirituality in marketing? Right now, we consider the needs and wants of customer when we plan our marketing. Spirituality in marketing is considering the consumer human being with mind, heart, and spirit. Solutions to make the world a better place through marketing. Example, public is slowly considering how the environment effects are going to cause problem to their own kids and try to use less harmful ways to the environment in their daily lives. It is positive attitude towards product and advertisements which do not harm them and the environment. Over to you, Kasan.
Thank you, Naomi. I'm going to explain and compare era of marketing. So if we take past data into consideration, we can see three eras in marketing: product-centric marketing, customer-centric marketing, value-driven marketing. Next slide. Product-centric marketing focus was on the development of functional products and making them mass products. In other words, they find customers for their products rather than products for their customers. Customer-centric marketing focus has shifted to the meet and satisfy the customer through segmentation, satisfy the mind and need of a consumer, doing businesses that focus on creating the best experience for customers. Finally, value-driven marketing. The focus has shifted to the recognizing that consumer is just more than a buyer. Satisfy mind, body, and heart of a consumer to create meaningful value for your customers. For example, Kales giving e-credit for reusable bags to reduce a polythene bag usage in near future. Also, they value functional and emotional and spiritual. Thank you. Over to you, Naomi.
Given that the marketing approach is changing towards considering a consumer as a whole human being, marketing ways would also change accordingly. As to Philip Kotler in Marketing 3.0 book, it is said that the product management, or we call it as 4 Ps, would change to co-creation. Co-creation is a product or service design process in which input from consumers plays a central role from beginning to end. Now the 4 Ps would change like this. Product. All stakeholders are jointly involved in creating the product. Example, Dell has a system where the customer can share its thoughts for improvement and it's considered in the next production line. Place. As the internet has made things accessible within a millisecond, shifting towards online selling where the consumer has access to research on the product. Price. Due to consumer spirit of making the world a better place, they are willing to pay a premium for environmental friendly product rather than going for generic ones. Example, paying extra for glass bottle iced coffee rather than a plastic cup. Promotion. Companies invite consumers to create rational content for companies. Example, having a competition for creative campaign and selecting the winner for the campaign so that the consumer is also in the promotional activities. Best TikTok advertisement for a product and choosing that as the promotional path. Over to you, Shanika.
Thank you, Naomi. Let's see future model of marketing. We should see and target consumer as a whole human who consists of mind, heart, and spirit marketing in third era. Consumer as a whole human positioning, experimental branding, emotional branding, love marks, mind, heart, and spirit marketing in third era. Companies should focus on how to positioning and differentiating their product based on 3I model. 3 I represent the brand identity, brand integrity, and brand image. Definition of integrity is about fulfilling what is claimed through the positioning and differentiation of the brand. It is about being credible, fulfilling your promises, and establishing consumers' trust in your brand. Brand identity is about positioning your brand in the mind of the consumers. The positioning should be unique for your brand to be heard and noticed in the clustered marketplace. Brand image is about acquiring a share of the consumer's emotions. Your brand values should appeal consumers' emotional need and want beyond product, functionalities, and features. It's over to you, Sambikalo.
Thank you, Shanika. I'm going to show you some examples for aim to superiority in marketing. First of all, let's see some video.
Sound is not. What happened to the sound?
My friend, what do you want? I'll pay for it.
No, I just want some water.
What do you want? I'll get you whatever you want. You want coffee, iced tea? I got anything to drink. I got you. Go get it. Get him whatever he wants. You want anything to eat? Get whatever you want. Get something to eat too, my friend. There's good sandwiches here. There's like an egg and cheese. You like that one? Awesome. That's perfect for you. Anytime, brother. Anytime. It's all good, brother. We were all there at one point. We were all there at one point. It's all good. He wants this one right here, the Impossible Breakfast Sandwich. Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad you're happy, my friend. God bless.
At that video, you may see that someone helped to get some foods to homeless person. My first example is hanging coffee concept doing by Starbucks coffees. Their consumers can buy a coffee to homeless person. Second example is Dialogue Little Heart campaign. At that campaign, it initiates donating expiring star points to critical illness children. Third example is Abedana program conducted by Maliban. Maliban Milk donates some money from each pack of milk powder purchased from consumer to saving cows that are condemned to death. Next one is campaign done by GFLOC as GFLOC Refresh. They give away a plant to each customer. As well as Dirana Media lead the campaign to 1 million trees plantation in Sri Lanka. Next slide. Next slide is summary of spirituality marketing. For value-driven spirituality marketing, employees, stakeholder, consumers are part of that. Spirituality, what attitudes guides the day-to-day business, the behavior of people, and the type of attitudes which you communicate to consumers. If the vision mission of the company is harming the environment in future, consumers will shift to other products and services. This is end of our presentation. Next is our references. Thank you.
Please send me the reference list, right? With your presentation. Okay, group number 3. Number 3.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. The presentation is more informative about the sustainability and spirituality. But as per my understanding, I think that the spirituality concept comes under the sustainability, because sustainability is also considered about three pillars as economy, society, and environment. So I think that if a company merge or integrate both these concepts, sustainability and spirituality, then the company can be more competitive in the market, because those two concepts move together.
Right. According to my understanding, spirituality it's important. So then the two sustainability and spirituality, then that is a two different concept. But we want to connect this to these two things, right? So you can see here how you can stop your sharing, then I can share my own. Right? Right? So how many people agree? So I think you are not adequately explained spirituality as a new concept. Right? It is very important to discuss further, because it is there are two ways to enter the sustainability. So one is maybe we'll check. So that's not that. Look at that, two pathways to wisdom, pathway to spirituality, sustainability. Then you can see these things. I will send this handout to you. Please refer these things, right? Then you can understand more about spirituality. So look at sustainability. Connect with the spirituality. Sustainability not always look at from the external factors, but we want to think about the internal inner behavior of the people. So that's the inner, to get the inner solutions, not too enough, right? So not get the external technological infrastructure and legal solutions to get the sustainability. That is important. That's why you are mentioning that spirituality come under the sustainability, right? So at that aspect, you are correct, because you want to think about the connect to the inner solutions, especially the peoples. Like that group mentioned, three peoples, especially the consumer side, manufacturer side, and the other people in the society. Maybe these all key areas. So you want to connect these two concepts together and explain. So here you can see the human spirit, right? Maybe the human mind is not aligned with the spirit. So then if it is very important to consider these aspects, I will send this handout to you. Please refer this one. So I have no much time, because that is the reading section, right? So you may need to collect more articles, more information, and then you can get the total sustainability aspect. So we want to think about the both internal and external. For manufacturer or the CEO of the company, spiritual doing and living spiritual way, then they are always try to support and try to satisfy customers in a spiritual manner. So you can see here. So then they are always, maybe the CEOs, managers mind is aligned with the spirit. So then they always practice in the good practices, ethical practices, legal practices, everything they concern. Then they promote always the good products and the maybe the organic and the green products, especially they concern these things, because they are the people have more spirit, more good behavior inside of there. Then they love the people, especially they think about the other people's behavior. They concern about the environment. They love environment as well as the society, what we live today, right? So that at that type of situation, they also always encourage their employee to support consumers to get a healthy lifestyle or the healthy product. So that is also, they encourage customers. They always look at the consumer health and the happiness and their social standards, everything you can look at relating spirituality and sustainability, right? Sustainability, we can connect the spiritual behavior, so that behavior from the people side, so that people's different humans, maybe the consumer, or maybe the company people, maybe the manufacturers, if they are going through the spiritual lifestyle or the spiritual manner, then that will support to get the total and the real sustainability practices in the company, in the society, as well as a whole society, right? So that is, you can look at relating to two different implications relating to the spirituality and sustainability in marketing. I don't want to explain different things relating to this one, but the presentation group, they hardly try to connect connecting with this, especially the Philip Kotler's 3.0 marketing textbooks, right? So that is also the extended readings, they especially connect with. Through that, they try to explain the values and all these things, how marketing management subject connect with these three different zeros, especially the 3.0 aspects relating to spirituality things. So that is also another way of way you can present and you can capture the spirituality aspects, right? So that is a good one. Even co-creation concepts highly emphasized in that group. So that is also, I agree and highly appreciate that group to using these extended things to express your view. So nothing connecting with the one particular article or one particular specific track. So they try to combine different things to express their views relating to spirituality and sustainability. So getting those things, you can one question can ask any group. One questions we can ask, what are the implications of sustainability and spirituality. Then again, another question we can ask, how spirituality can incorporate to the sustainable development or the sustainable marketing. Then spirituality, how spirituality you can connect. Right? Any one you want to ask question? Yes. So in your previous question papers, please look at different things we asked, really, especially focusing on different articles. But this times we are not asking specific articles to refer. So common concepts we discuss, right? So I think key definitions and the understandings you can get through your classroom discussion. But in addition to that, you can refer so many articles. Then you can get extended knowledge relating to sustainability, spirituality, mindful consumption, then the different social marketing initiatives and some suggestions to reach sustainable business marketing, especially marketing in future eras, right? So that is important. Then the next group is also, I think, almost similar to there's one concept. One concept connecting with the sustainability. So that is also interesting. Especially we discuss different concept relating to environmental imperatives by Philip Kotler in 2011 or 2010. So that is the first article, very nicely explain how the pre-sustainability era and sustainability era. So then you may need to refer that article. Within that, there are different key concepts, highlights in how can company become sustainable, develop sustainable for peace, and some other related special concepts like social social responsibility marketing, social marketing, then again marketing and 3.0 marketing. All the concepts you can refer from that particular article. This time, go beyond that, and I would prefer to ask sustainability related concept. How can we compare with the cradle to cradle versus cradle to grave? There is another important concept, and especially the new concepts you can hear from the another group, right? Okay. I now invite group number 12 to start your presentation. Before that, I again appreciate the group number 11 presentation, but not actually combine these two concepts to explain implication of marketing. So that is the important sections. Other students also concerned relating to that particular presentation and the area, especially the area relating to marketing management, right? Okay. Then you can get more marks, right? Then the second group 12. You can share your slide. Group 12, are you ready?
Yes, madam.
Yes. Yes. You can share. You can share.
See the slide?
Yes.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Very good morning to you all. I hope my voice is clear.
Yes.
Right. Welcome to the group number 12. As our topic, we have to discuss on the topic which comes under sustainability, cradle to grave and cradle to cradle. As the previous group has given sound information or sound or informative session on the sustainability, we'll look at what the concept of cradle to grave and cradle to cradle, and we'll look at how they are going to be differ. Right. Next slide, Charu Nadi. So in the very beginning of the session, these are our group members, and in the very beginning of our session, we are going to talk about a brief information or brief introduction on the two concepts, and then onwards we are going for the deep discussions on the importance and how these concepts are differ from each other, and also the advantages and disadvantages of these two concepts, and after onwards we are on the that we have discussed in this session. So cradle to grave and cradle to cradle are two different concepts which originated with the same meaning. So cradle to cradle and cradle to grave are two approaches which we are using in the marketing, and for years of time marketers mostly focus on the performance of an object or a good or a service, and the cost of the same object good or the service. But however, with the development of the concept of marketing and the other concepts, the green innovation or the green movement, a new thought of marketing concepts has forward in order to ensure the sustainability of the marketing concept. So then cradle to grave has been forwarded, and in the cradle to grave concepts, the way of thinking not in during their, but also the disposal stage also. But it introduced the fact that many products have significantly impacts throughout their entire lives. So beginning with the extraction of raw materials that actually comprise the product to its manufacturing. So use of energy and water, its waste and emissions, or else transportation impacts, the actual use of the product, and finally it ending with the ultimate disposal age. So considering this entire life cycle is done through the cradle to grave. So with the two pictures in the next slide, we can easily find out or discuss what we are going to discuss cradle to grave and cradle to cradle concept. So in the cradle to grave concept, we consider the disposal stage, and through a systematic disposal stage, we are going to dispose all the waste and other materials in the different stages that produce in the different stages. But after that, the cradle to cradle stage implies that the end of the product use cycle is not only the disposal age, but also the originated of the another raw material. That is the beginning of the cradle to cradle concept. This concept was forwarded by two persons called Michael Brogard and William McDonald. They forward these concepts through the book of Cradle to Cradle, remarking the way we make things. So after that introduction, we'll look at how this concept can be discussed further. Mr. Prasad will carry on the session after this point onwards.
Next slide, please. So I will explain about the cradle to grave concept. Actually, is cradle to grave convert the entire life cycle of the point of disposal. In this case, we are analyzing all life cycle of the product. Properly analyze life cycle of the product, then we can minimize, as a result of to grave concept, we can minimize waste of the. It's a full analysis of product from the raw material to the disposal in an attempt to determine its full carbon footprint. And nowadays, a lot of companies are practicing this to reduce the environmental impact. Otherwise, a firm's perspective on the environment created by their product or activities from the beginning life cycle to its end or disposal. Actually, as example, in the cradle to grave assessment, consider each stage of the product life cycle. Actually, in the product manufacturing point step and the transportation and the final consumer end. Then we consider disposal from the beginning to end point. We analyze the total assessment in the cradle to grave concept. The cradle to grave methods, we have to do some assumptions when we are doing the analysis. Actually, there is no way from company to know consumer does once their product is purchased. But cradle analysis is try to account for all the products life cycle with the end goal of reclaim emissions. Then by doing this we can minimize total waste due to this product. Actually, there are some advantage. Right, please. Due to this cradle grave concept, we can get a lot of advantage. Actually, proper identification of each. Then we can identify risk, environmental impact due to this product by doing this analysis. Actually, necessary handling produce. Actually, we can develop some handling concept in this cradle to grave analysis. Actually, correct storage requirement, we can develop a good storage requirement by doing this cradle to grave analysis. Then as an example, the Unilever, they are doing this cradle to grave analysis. Actually, they have given this they have developed PRO model, actually producer responsibility organization. They have given as the company, they produce a lot of plastic and polythene waste. Then they have given to collect this polythene and plastic waste to another waste management company. Then they have developed this cradle to grave concept for their product. By doing this, they hope to reduce the environmental impact due to their product. Then I invite to describe about the cradle to cradle concept to Nimni. Thank you.
Okay, so today we are living in a highly advanced world, and so that as a result, we are experiencing high standard of living. However, we are using our planet and its natural resources, which are infinitely available, and make them dispose after their lifetime. But now we have realized as humans that our planet can only take a limited amount of waste. If we keep on practicing these dumping habits, many of our products will be end their life cycle as a waste. But as humans, we cannot stop producing products. So what's the solution? So there it comes, cradle to cradle concept, which was developed in 1990. This focus a set of design principles, including innovation, quality, and beneficial design. And this concept says waste is simply a valuable resource in the wrong place. It can be used as a raw material in another place, which facilitates circular economy. So this concept explains products need to be designed and produced in such a way that at the end of their life cycle, they can be truly recycled or else upcycled. So therefore, cradle-to-cradle concept can be considered as a sustainable business strategy where waste is reused. Moving on. So this cradle-to-cradle concept certified continual improvement process that encourage to look at a product through 5 quality categories. First one is material health, which ensure elimination of all toxic chemicals throughout the production process. And then material utilization, consider waste is either used in energy creation or is used for other production. And renewable energy focuses on reducing out carbon footprint. Water stewardship involves cleaning up effluents to drink water standards. And finally, social fairness, which helps to promote positive social and community impact. Moving on to next slide. So this cradle to cradle work in 2 ways. First one is biological cycle. The second one is technical cycle. Under biological cycle, it includes everything that can wear out to the environment. So these materials have to be fully biodegradable without releasing any harm of substances. So in contrast, technical cycle includes anything that is not degradable, therefore it needs to be prevented from adding to environment. So it should be proceed through recycling. So through cradle to cradle approach, we are not only reducing our negative ecological footprint, but extend our positive footprint. Now let's look into some real world examples. So in marketing aspect, when designing 4Ps for a product, organization need to decide on the fate of all its components at the end of the product life cycle. So looking into the examples, some of the globally recognized organizations such as Byfleet, which is a visual communication company, and MS Holdings has launched their Earth product range as a sustainable solution for waste. And also, cradle-to-cradle certifications are also available. Organizations like Steco Holdings, they are cradle-to-cradle certified organizations. So, likewise, these organizations can use this certification as a differentiation factor for their products and organizations, and they can combine them with an emotional appeal to their target audience. Not only that, if you're looking into some local examples, some of the organizations like InSecoCycle, which is a fully owned subsidiary of InSeCement, has indirectly contributed to this concept by initiating enterprise responsible approach, where they collect industrial waste and convert them in a way of a raw material and direct them to recycling and upcycling. Moving on. However, this concept has both positive and negative aspects. So if you're talking about advantages, it minimizes fatal and other harm for human, animal, and environment, which can be occurs due to waste. And also it is economically enhancing sustainable index of a country. And also this concept can use as a strategic business model to differentiate organization from their rivals. And finally, it can adapt as expandable application as well. And if we're looking into the disadvantages, organization need to rely on its supply chain in order to proceed with this. And also, there are certain modification difficulties which constrain the recycling product. And also, it involves high cost for recycling in terms of research and development, machinery requirement, capital requirements, and so on. To further discuss on this concept, I would like to invite Charity.
Thank you, Nimni. Now, I think you all get the descriptions regarding two models. So in here, we are going to comparison. We are going to comparison between the two models. Okay. So in the cradle to cradle model, that model is a closed loop system, and the cradle to grave model is a linear and one-way system. So when it comes to the product life cycle, cradle to cradle is going with the raw materials extraction and production, then manufacturing, then use, and then we are going to recovery and reutilize the raw materials again for a new production. So when considering the cradle to grave, it is not considering the reutilization of the raw material. Finally, they are going to dispose the product. Then when it comes to the basis, the cradle to grave is mass production and marketing, which speed up production and wear and tear times. But in the cradle to cradle, it's a natural law and emulating the natural cycles. So when it comes to the benefits, there are much benefits in the cradle to cradle model. So it reduces the wastage and continuous flow of service, goods, and resources are there in the cradle to cradle model. And also it allows the necessary time and space for natural resource regeneration. And also the companies may become less dependent on price fluctuations in raw materials in the market in cradle to cradle. So when it comes to these limitations, in the cradle to grave, there is a limitation of depletion of depletion of raw materials because there is no any reutilization. But when it comes to the cradle to cradle, there are limitations of trust and integrity is vital, and it might take more time than usual to establish a reliable supply chain. And also there is a difficulty in modification of a product because they are using reutilization of materials. The examples for the cradle to cradle and cradle to grave are the cradle to cradle. The best example is Nike's eco-friendly shoes. So it's a world recognition company. And the cradle to grave examples are fast fashion. So I can give an example for previous days. The McDonald's are a cradle to grave because McDonald's, they promote foods with the toys and other accessories for this for little children. But when it comes to the reality, the foods are not healthy for the children. So that's a marketing aspect, the cradle to grave model example. Then as a summary, you all know we discussed up to now the cradle to grave approach is a decrease-based approach, and also when it comes to the cradle to cradle is a sustainable business strategy that mimics the regenerative cycle of natural in regeneration cycle of nature in which waste is reused. Then this cradle to cradle design is an eye-opening approach to eliminating waste and creating a circular economy. So I will end the presentation with a quote from co-founder and former president of the Cradle to Cradle Products Innovation Institute, Brigitte Luther. So Cradle to Cradle is all about designing in a way where everything we do has a positive impact. So imagine if all the things you see were good for people and planet, and that every time a company made these products, they were creating good. So with that, we are ending our presentation. So for more information, you can see these YouTube videos regarding the models, and also these are the references we use for our presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Group number 4. Group number 4. So for my comment, right? So very nicely you explained both concepts, but especially cradle to cradle, it's actually all the waste returns to productive users again and again. That is closed loop. But cradle to grave, that is the open loop. That is the linear economic model. Then cradle to cradle, there is a special word you forget to explain. That is the circular economic model. That's I expect from your group presentation, right? That is always talking about the another new model linking with the cradle to cradle. That is we call linear. What I told you. So then the which economic model
Circular economy, ma'am.
Circular economic model, right? Circular economic model. That is the throwaway society versus circular economic model. You have to simplify those things, connecting with all the key things you explain. Especially, I have seen one good example relating to cradle, Nike shoes, right? So that is a very good example. I think you forget to explain that one. You mention only the another one. That is the used shows they apply for another productive users again and again. They use it as a new raw materials to another production process. Likewise, you can explain. So that is a very important concept relating to sustainability. Everything you have mentioned in your presentation, but simply you can present it other than highlighting so many difficult things, especially linked with the linear economic model versus another economic model, and again the open system, and there are regulations if we make a product and the biodegradable and yes. Okay, what's that? There are regulations if we make the products biodegradable, and which same group, Ramesh, Fernando? Compostables, then the correct technically specially timed solid. Yes, that's I don't think so many technical side of that one, because it's not you want to think and you want to highlight your presentation specifically focusing on the sustainability marketing aspects, because under this subject anyhow you go beyond and you are talking about the more technical things and touch very technical and scientific way of different key concepts relating to that one. Anyway, it's very good, but the thing is, right, simply you can present it in that way, right? Take 5 minutes or 10 minutes break and then come back to the lecture to discuss strategic planning, right? Okay. Then next week you will have another 4 group presentation, right? Anybody ready for today to complete your presentation? No, I think everybody want to take time. Any question? I have separate notes or the preparing for each section relating to different discussions that your group, different groups present in the class. I will send it to you through email, or maybe I will upload it to the LMS. Don't worry, right? People who couldn't get some points relating to the presentation. Any issue relating to that one, you can pass your message to the chat box.